Welcome to Obscure Epochs Revealed, the channel that brings history to life, from the battles of the Romans to the legends of the Vikings. Here we dive into myths, cultures, and forgotten stories, concise, thrilling, and full of facts. Today we travel back to the year 1465, to a celebration that astonished all of Europe, the wedding of Alfonso II of Aragon and Ippolita Maria Sforza. A day full of splendor, music, and magnificence until suddenly the sun turned blue, the sky darkened, and the crowd froze in fear. What lay behind this mysterious phenomenon? A divine omen, or a powerful volcano shaking the very earth? Let's find out now in this episode of Obscure Epochs Revealed. It is September 14th, 1465. Across Naples, anticipation builds for a festival meant to be remembered, not only for its grandeur but for what would unfold. Eyewitnesses reported that the sun turned blue, its light dimmed, and shadows lost their edges. For some, an omen. For others, a mystery, one that would persist for centuries. Ippolita Maria Sforza, a daughter of the House of Sforza, beautiful, educated, politically significant, arrives in Naples. Alfonso II, her groom and future ruler, awaits her with gold, trumpets, and distinguished guests. The city thrums with energy. The celebrations reach their peak. Yet in the midst of all this splendor, one image captures more attention than any jewel. The sky begins to shimmer, and the sun no longer shines in its usual hue. In Sant'Elia near Monte Cassino, a notary writes, "On the evening of the festival the sun turned blue, accompanied by a hazy sky that dimmed the light." In Rome, Bologna, Soest, and Braunschweig, separated by great distance yet strikingly consistent, chronicles record the same phenomenon. Altered sun colors, dimmed light, halos, and a veil-like atmosphere. In Verona, accounts even claim the spectacle in the sky drew more attention than the bride's grand procession itself. Modern scientists propose several explanations. Sulfate aerosols from volcanic eruptions could have ejected sulfur into the stratosphere, forming fine particles that scatter sunlight, especially red wavelengths, making blue or green light appear dominant. Another theory involves large bushfires, smoke clouds, or Saharan dust veils, though this seems less likely, as many chronicle reports mention the dimmed sun lasting for several days. Ice cores provide supporting data. Between 1465 and 1466, they show a distinct rise in sulfate, evidence of an atmospheric disturbance with global effects. What do such aerosols cause? First, reduced light, muted colors, and flattened shadows. Second, climate cooling, as less solar radiation reaches the Earth's surface. Historical sources mention failed harvests and unusual weather. When vast amounts of particles linger in the stratosphere, they can remain there for weeks or months, altering regional weather patterns. This could explain why similar sky phenomena were reported across Europe, even far from Naples. Despite the strong evidence, no single volcano has been definitively identified. Historical records mention no major eruption at precisely that time. Some research points to volcanic activity in tropical regions, perhaps in the southern hemisphere, or even to submarine eruptions, which would have left little trace in historical documents. The Kuai eruption, often cited as a candidate, doesn't fit perfectly in timing or known effects. Science, therefore, faces a puzzle. Ice data, yes. Chronicles, yes. Volcano, possible but uncertain. How did people react back then? For many it was a sign, an omen, religion, superstition, fear. Some chronicles describe priests preaching, crowds praying, and people trembling. Politically, the wedding was significant. Ippolita Maria Sforza's arrival in Naples was a ceremonial event full of symbolism. That the sky changed at that very moment could easily be seen as a bad omen, or as some chroniclers suggest, used as political propaganda. The environment and agriculture likely suffered as well. Less sunlight and lower temperatures meant smaller yields. Some sources mention unusually cold summers and damp years following the event. What can we learn today? That natural forces are more than meteorological curiosities. They shape history, emotion, and culture. A celebration, a royal procession, a moment in the sky, then a cause for fear. Today, a source of curiosity. The chroniclers captured their view, often through a religious lens. Scientists now seek the facts, data, ice cores, models. Perhaps it will always remain a small mystery. Which volcano, how strong the effect, how wide the impact. Yet in this interplay of legend and science lies a story that continues to fascinate. In that September of 1465, Europe, unknowingly, learned something about our atmosphere, about light and particles, about the bond between sky and humanity. Perhaps next time you look up and the sun seems strange, you'll see it differently. Maybe you'll question what you're witnessing. If you enjoyed this journey, leave a like, subscribe for more stories from the past. And tell me in the comments, was it a volcano, a wildfire, or something else entirely?